Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from SimpleProgrammer.com. So I got a question about fasting and about a book that I did a review on. So I did this book on obesity code. You can check it out here. And it's a really good book, actually. It really changed some of my mindset on some of the things as far as fitness. I've actually changed my diet quite a bit. In fact, I'm just coming off of a 3-day fast. So it's Tuesday now. I just broke the fast yesterday, but I stopped eating Friday night and I didn't eat Saturday or Sunday or Monday until Monday evening when I broke the fast. So it was a good, 3-day fast. And I'll tell you, you learn a lot about yourself if you don't eat for 3 days. And you learn a little bit about who you really are. So I've done this enough times that I've sort of been able to go there and learn, gain some insight from that. So it's definitely something I encourage, but obviously check with your doctor. I'm not a doctor, so if you don't eat for 3 days and somehow you die, it's not my fault. You're the idiot who didn't eat for 3 days. Okay. So I got this question from Kevin. And Kevin says, "Hi, hey John, I've read the book you recommended, Obesity Code. Okay. I imagine you did 3 days of fasting based on that book." There you go, my brother. All right. He says, "Have you seen any benefits? I do know that you fast a 24-hour period. So my normal, regular, scheduled fasting is every day. I basically don't eat for 22 hours or 23 hours, right? I eat one meal a day. I fast all day long. I haven't eaten anything today. I won't eat until like 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, and that'll be the one meal I'll eat, okay? So that's my protocol." He says, additional info, another is how you deal with hunger during fasting. I actually managed to subdue my hunger, but when I see delicious food in front of me, I couldn't resist. Thankfully, or not thankfully, my wife loves to cook delicious food, and it's so hard to resist. So a couple of things here, Kevin. So benefits. There's some definite scientific benefits. I'm not going to go like in depth into the science here in this video since I don't have any research in front of me, and I'd just be quoting up fake statistics that I don't have in front of me. But I will tell you this. So, okay, HGH levels when you fast have been proven to rise dramatically, as much as up to 1,000%. Okay, and it sort of peaks around 48 to 72 hours. And so a 3-day fast like that is going to give you very high HGH levels, okay, which I can feel. When I went to the gym yesterday and I hit PRs on a lot of lifts, with no food for 3 days, right? And a lot of people say, well, that doesn't make any sense. Like you're gonna be, they always say this, they say, well, if I did that, I would lose a bunch of muscle and I'd faint. And I'm not saying that you won't faint. Maybe you would, right? It depends on your blood sugar. But for most, but think about this from a biological standpoint, okay? Let's say you're a caveman, okay? And let's say that you haven't eaten for 4 or 5 days because the only way that you get food is you fucking kill something and you eat it, okay? So what do you think would be a biological advantage? Do you think that you should be at your weakest at that point? Like you're like, oh, I can hardly hold this spear. I haven't eaten for 4 days. Or do you think you're going to be jacked? Do you think that your body's going to be pumping you full of adrenaline, like you better kill something or you're going to die, and you're going to have superhuman strength? Which do you think makes more sense? Okay, so think about that, right? That's just something to think about. Okay, so I know we're on the same. I'm preaching to the choir here because you read the book and obviously you like the book. But for those of you that are doubting and wondering about this, that's my explanation. Like, come up with a better sound reason why. Come up with a reason why you should be like ready to pass out and weak after not eating, and I'll entertain it, but it doesn't make any sense to me from a biological standpoint. So anyway, so that's one benefit of it that I find. The other one is just the mental clarity. Like I said, you learn a lot about yourself by not eating for 3 days. It's hard, it's difficult, it's not an easy thing to do, but you learn about what you can endure, that being hungry is not that bad, and also, I do like 10-mile runs when I'm fasting as well, just like what you're capable of, right? It's pretty awesome when you're like, you haven't eaten for 3 days and you ran 10 miles and lifted a bunch of weights, and you're like, wow, there's a lot of stuff in life that I thought was hard, now it seems easy, right? Because if I can do that, what can I do? So I think that's something. And again, I've done videos on this before where I've talked about like that, where you're at your worst is your actual best, right? What I mean about it is like when things are hard, right, and how you're acting in that time, that's what you actually are. That's the real you coming out. And so if you put yourself through hell, if you put yourself through fasting for 3 days, that personality that you have then, that's the real you. And that's where you can actually work on that real personality, because if you improve yourself then, if you can hold back your temper, if you can control your emotions, if you can have emotional mastery at that point, when you're not under that kind of pressure, it'll be much easier. So that's where you really get to do some really deep self-development. At least that's what I find. And just from a health benefit, I mean, like I said, like, you read obesity code, you know that the most efficient way to burn fat is fast, obviously. So when you do that, you also prime yourself to build muscle with the HGH increase. So from a health standpoint, I think that it's highly beneficial for what I'm trying to achieve physique-wise. I've had great benefits and great results from it. And then also, from a medical standpoint, there's been a lot of studies showing that fasting is helpful to your health, from everything from preventing cancer to programmed cell death, which is I'm losing the name for it now, but anyway, those things can help to renew the body. So now, as far as dealing with hunger, I'll answer that real quick. This is one of those things that, like, I mean, I think it subsides. Like, hunger comes and goes, right? You're not like constantly hungry, so it's going to come and go. So the best thing to do is just to distract yourself and just go do something else, or just recognize it. I mean, being self-aware is really powerful. If anytime you're trying to master any kind of emotion or being self-aware and just saying, okay, I feel really hungry right now. Like, I know it sounds really stupid, but if you acknowledge that and you say, because then you acknowledge the difference between the urge to eat and the feeling of hunger. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, we're as creatures, biological creatures, we tend to, like, we go with what we desire, right? We don't make the connection always between the emotion and the feeling and then the action, okay? And so when you separate those two and you say, I'm hungry, I'm feeling hungry, and you feel what that feels like, you're like, oh, that doesn't mean I have to eat. It just means that, I would want to eat. But it doesn't mean, I know this sounds a little bit silly, but try it, it will help you. And then, as far as delicious food, you just got to develop again, I would say that the biggest thing with that is that I always tell myself that, FOMA, right? Fear of missing out, FOMA. I did a video on FOMA, okay? And I think I even talked about food and stuff like that, because so there's some delicious food in front of you. So you can eat delicious food anytime you want. I always tell myself, John, you're a grown-ass man. You can go to the store and you can buy a whole fucking cheesecake if you want, and you can eat the whole thing if you want, right? Anytime you want. Like, this is like, you can do this. This is amazing, right? So why do you feel like just because someone brought cupcakes into work that you've got to eat the cupcakes, or someone cooked a delicious food? You can go to a nice restaurant and eat delicious food. You see what I'm saying? So if you're trying to fast, if you're trying to not eat, then just don't do it. Don't like indulge just because you're afraid of missing out. Anytime you make choices in life like that, where you're afraid of missing out, that FOMA, you make bad choices, right? I mean, there are definitely occasions where it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but most of the time someone cooking a good meal or someone bringing cupcakes into work is not a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, right? I mean, let's be honest here, okay? And how much are you really missing out on anyway? Is some hedonistic pleasure for like a few minutes of enjoying some food? Big fucking deal, right? What are your bigger goals in life? That's what I remind myself when I'm hungry. Okay, I'm hungry right now, so I'm reminding myself that. So, all right, that's all I got for you today. Thanks for the question, and check out the book if you haven't, the Obesity Code, or check out my review on it. I think it's a really good book. I think everyone should read it. And that's all I got. All right. If you like this video, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you click that subscribe button below. Click the bell so you don't miss any videos. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.